officials declaring under oath for the first time that the U.S. government is in possession of UFOs and non-human pilots. As one congressman put it, quote, alien bodies.
Has any of the activity been aggressive?
I know of multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured.
You said that the government has alien bodies.
I have to be careful.
Have you seen any of the bodies?
That's something I've not witnessed myself. Biologics came to some of these recoveries.
Human or non-human?
Non-human.
So, are they saying there's alien life and the U.S. government has been hiding? I mean, it's sort of unbelievable when you think about what they're saying, whether this is real. Tom Foreman is out front.
My God.
Something's out there, we don't know what, and we ought to be concerned.
We were primarily seeing dark gray or black cubes inside of a clear sphere.
That was the message from all the witnesses about unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs.
Do you believe UAPs pose a potential threat to our national security?
Yes. You're talking something that can go into space, go someplace, drop down in a matter of seconds, do whatever it wants, and leave. And there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing.
Back with videos released by the government and their own first-hand observations of what are more commonly called UFOs, the 3 retired military men, 2 former Navy pilots, and a former Air Force intelligence officer described mysterious somethings, objects, lights, with astonishing capabilities.
These objects were completely stationary in Category 4 hurricane winds. These same objects would then accelerate to supersonic speeds, 1.1, 1.2 Mach. And they would do so in very erratic and quick behaviors that I don't have an explanation for.
And when the witnesses started talking about what they claim they've been told, it went even further, albeit with no proof in tow.
You said that the government has alien bodies or alien species.
I have to be careful to describe what I've seen firsthand and not in this environment.
And have you seen any of the bodies?
That's something I've not witnessed myself.
This is huge. This is worldwide.
The whole spectacle was enough to have some committee members openly accusing the government of a cover-up.
It is unacceptable to continue to gaslight Americans into thinking that this is not happening.
While others, like the witnesses, are calling for more open reporting procedures for anyone who sees anything.
We can't be afraid of asking questions, and we can't be afraid of the truth.
So yeah, this was a red letter day for true believers out there. People who really believe there are some other visitors to Earth, there are some unknown things in the sky. Very, very excited about the testimony they heard today. However, for many skeptics, there remains this notion of, look, we don't really know what they saw, and what is science and what is fiction.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. And next.
Airborne drones is an urgent national security problem. If it is something else, it is an issue for science. In either case, unidentified objects are concerned for flight safety.
David Grush, a former military intel officer, claimed the U.S. had alien bodies in spacecraft, a statement for which he admitted he has secondhand info and no proof.
You said that the U.S. has intact spacecraft. You said that the government has alien bodies.
I have to be careful to describe what I've seen firsthand and not in this environment.
Have you seen any of the bodies?
That's something I've not witnessed myself.
The House Oversight Committee was a rare moment of bipartisanship in a sharply divided Congress.
We're not bringing little green men or flying saucers into the hearing. We're just going to get to the facts.
We should encourage more reporting, not less, on UAPs. The more we understand, the safer we will be.
One of the witnesses was former Navy pilot Ryan Graves, who now runs Americans for Safe Aerospace, a group that encourages pilots to report incidents of UFOs, officially known as UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. The vast majority of sightings, he says, are never reported.
This is an approximation based off of my personal experience speaking with a number of pilots, but I would estimate we're somewhere near 5% reporting perhaps.
The 3 witnesses, all retired military veterans, warn the threat these objects pose is real.
Based off of your own experience or the data that you've been privy to, is there any indication that these UAVs could be essentially collecting reconnaissance information? Mr. Graves?
Yes.
Mr. Grush?
Fair assessment.
Mr. Fravor?
Very possible.
David Fravor, a retired U.S. Navy commander, picked up this on his aircraft sensors in 2004, a reading he claimed was something far superior to anything the U.S. had.
You're talking something that can go into space, go someplace, drop down in a matter of seconds, do whatever it wants, and leave, and there's nothing we can do about it.
In April, the head of the Pentagon's office looking into these incidents told lawmakers there were about 650 potential cases of UAPs, about half of which he said may be of interesting value. The White House said Wednesday it's still working on figuring out those answers.
If your question is, do we think we need to be transparent with the American people? Of course we need to be as transparent as we can be. But the truth is, sir, we don't have hard and fast answers on these things. We are trying to get smarter.
Lauren Lieberman, CNN at the Pentagon.
We're now on that strange side of 2004. You just saw an orange report, one that resembled a Tic Tac. Here again is that moment. My next guest, along with retired Navy Commander David Fravor, who testified today, witnessed this UAP off the coast of San Diego during a routine training exercise. Joining with more is retired Navy Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich. Commander, thanks for being here. You watched the hearing today. You listened to the testimony. What did you think? What stood out to you?
Well, I was very proud of my colleagues, the three witnesses, Brian Graves, David Grush, and Commander David Fravor, who was my skipper at the time of our UAP encounter back in 2004. And I thought all three of them did a great job of maintaining their bearing, articulating their experience and their expertise and their recommendations for the representatives of Congress to follow through, to investigate both what has already happened and to pave a way for a process in the system to collect future encounters, the information, the data, analyze it in a systematic way, and make sense of it.
David Fravor was your commanding officer. You mentioned him on that day back in 2004 when you saw the UAP, which you referred to as the Tic Tac, and we're showing that in the video now. Commander Fravor described the encounter again today in the hearing. What else do you personally remember from that encounter? What stands out to you all these years later?
So I thought Commander Fravor did an excellent job of recounting a lot of the technical details, the scenario that we were in this training exercise off the coast of California. We were a large carrier strike group, this battle group of several ships and squadrons of aircraft. That is why it was such a big deal that we had this unidentified aircraft or something in our airspace operating so close to a military exercise. And the only thing that I would add to the story that he tells is what happened in the moments and hours and days afterwards, which was disappointing. It was underwhelming in terms of the debrief that we received. And so again, I would advocate for a process in place so that when operators, whether they're military pilots or civilian commercial pilots or anybody else who sees something, to have a way to report it and to have a channel through which it is collected and analyzed in a systematic way.
And in the 18 years since, has anyone, in a position or anyone from the military, anyone in a legitimate position to investigate, been able to give you any explanation that makes sense about what you saw?
Oh, no explanations. But I will say that it took several years before I was called into the Pentagon to provide a thorough debrief. And at that point, I was asked some very good technical questions.
I mean, the thing that years ago really got my attention and interest was that a number of these videos that have caught the public's attention were not shot by civilians. They were captured by military personnel, like this incident from 2015 off the Atlantic coast, 11 years after your encounter. I just want to show this.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I mean, as somebody who has encountered something, when you see a video like that, what goes through your mind?
Well, I'm laughing because I recognize their excitement. That's exactly what we sounded like.
I can imagine.
Across Yeah, I mean, what is that? And, you know, a lot of F-bombs and, again, it's unexpected, you know, I'm confident that there are other videos like this, and if they're not recorded, you know, certainly other experiences like this where people just go, what was that? You know,
Commander Alex Dietrich, really appreciate your time.
Go into space, go someplace, drop down in a matter of seconds, do whatever it wants, and leave. And there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing.
Back with videos released by the government and their own first-hand observations of what are more commonly called UFOs, the 3 retired military men, 2 former Navy pilots and a former Air Force intelligence officer, described mysterious somethings, objects, lights, with astonishing capabilities.
These objects were staying completely stationary in Category 4 hurricane winds. These same objects would then accelerate to supersonic speeds, 1.1, 1.2 Mach, and they would do so in very erratic and quick behaviors that I don't have an explanation for.
And when the witnesses started talking about what they claim they've been told, it went even further, albeit with no proof in tow.
You said the government has alien bodies or alien species.
I have to be careful to describe what I've seen firsthand in this environment.
And have you seen any of the bodies?
That's something I've not witnessed myself.
This is huge. This is worldwide.
The whole spectacle was enough to have some committee members openly accusing the government of a cover-up.
It is unacceptable to continue to gaslight Americans into thinking that this is not happening,
While others, like the witnesses, are calling for more open reporting procedures for anyone who sees anything.
We can't be afraid of asking questions, and we can't be afraid of the truth.
If one thing came out of this was a commitment from several committee members to say, or push from them to say, yeah, the government needs to be more transparent about what we do know and what we don't know. What we did not get in all of this, though, is any real proof. What are these people seeing? And is it something that is more science or more fiction? Well, Dr.